Good morning, students of class 9. Welcome back to the online classes now. Let's continue our lesson in English. We are doing the poem, A Legend of the Northern Land. And in our previous class, we have talked about the old lady, little lady. She was very, very greedy. And the Saint Peter, a holy man. Once a holy man reached her house. She knocked at the door. And Saint Peter saw that the little lady, old lady, was making or baking a cake. Since Saint Peter was very hungry and thirsty, he also needed a place to rest, and he asked for some food. And what did the lady say? The lady came there at the door, and she even didn't made him sit in the house. The Saint Peter was waiting at the door. Now here are stanza 7, stanza 8, stanza 9. We'll read this. Each stanza will read. So she made a very little cake. As Saint Peter was faint with hunger, and he was about to faint with hunger and thirst, as well as tired. So he asked for the cake, and the old lady, she made a very little cake for Saint Peter. But as it baking lay, as the cake was getting baked, she looked at it. She looked at the cake and thought. The lady thought it seemed too large to give away. She thought that this is very big. This is too large to give it away. So didn't want to. So she kept the cake in the cupboard, and therefore she needed another one. Knead. K-N-E-A-D. Knead. Knead means to mix flour and water, and knead, to make it a soft dough. So she needed another one. And still a smaller one. She kneaded the dough and placed it in the oven, and again it became very large. She kept it again and put even smaller than that, again it became. Every time she baked, it seemed that it was too large to give it away. But it looked, when she turned it over, when she was baking, when she turned it over, while she was cooking, as large as the first had done. It seems that no matter how small she put, it seems that it is too large to give it away. So therefore, then she took a tiny means very small, scrap means piece. Then she took a tiny scrap of dough. Dough means the kneaded flour and water, that kneaded dough. Before we make chapatis, we have to knead the flour and water to make it soft, a mass, soft mass, so that we can roll it. So then she took a tiny scrap of dough and rolled it flat. She rolled it and make it flat, very thin like a paper, wafer, and baked it, rolled it flat, and baked it thin as a wafer. It was so thin, like a paper, but she couldn't part with that. As it lay baking, again it swelled up and it looked very big. So she could not part with that. Part means give it away. She could not give it away. Every time she thought it is too large to give it away. So many times she begged for Saint Peter, but it seemed quite big to part it away or give it to Saint Peter. While Saint Peter was waiting at the door, and he was almost faint because he was very, very tired. He had been traveling for days, many days, preaching holy scriptures. And since he was hungry and tired, and since it was even late in the evening, he needed some rest. So he was almost faint with hunger and thirst and tiredness. So he was waiting. He was kept there waiting for the food or the cake. So at last Saint Peter could not tolerate for how long he would have to wait. So in our next stanza, there are more stanzas. So what happens? Will Saint Peter get faint, or did he get angry, or did he left the house and went somewhere else? What happens after that? We'll talk it over in our next class. Now here are some of the meanings I have given you. Lay means remain there. Seemed, look like. Need, to mix thoroughly with water. Tiny, very small. Scrap, a small piece. Duff, a thick mass. By mixing, to make a thick mass by mixing flour and water. If you mix flour and water, it becomes a thick mass. So that is a duff. Duff. Wafer, wafter, thin and light. Wafter means wrapper, W-A-F-E-R, wrapper. So thin and light, very very thin like a paper, but still it was too large. She could not part with that. This shows that she was so much greedy. Her greed made Saint Peter very angry. He was waiting at the door. So that's all for today. We'll meet in the next class and continue our poems. That's all for today. Thank you for watching the video.